Hello everyone! As some of you may know, I was at the Cannes Film Festival this year, and I saw a lot of the big movies, some of which are going to be playing at Toronto soon, and in New York too. So here's my very belated review of this year's Iranian Palme d'Or winner, It Was Just an Accident, by Jafar Panahi, or whatever. This movie is really cool, but like all the movies I loved at this festival, it kinda overwhelmed me and I wanna watch it again as soon as I can. This film is simply really visceral and exhilarating on just a narrative level alone, leaving me shook and simply in a state of incredible excitement. I've seen some of Panahi's films before, but each of those I saw starred him in the leading role and was a meta statement on art, censorship, and the intersection between reality and fiction. This newest film takes it a step further by making this intersection aspect the central part of its straightforward drama thriller narrative without any explicit meta elements. And in this story, a group of characters try to figure out whether the situation they are getting involved in is a fact or a fiction. At parts, this film is quite comedic, but really it's a psychological thriller drama at its core with a very stripped down aesthetic you can find in other festival films as well, being comprised of very clean tripod shots and a lack of a score. Although in terms of writing, this gives me vibes of Martin McDonagh in some way. The actual style is in ways reminiscent of Haneke, but mostly reminds me of Farhadi's The Salesman in terms of both plot and intensity, and of course Abbas Kiarostami in terms of the poetic purity found in its compositions. The trailer might not make this clear right away, and I would honestly not even recommend watching the trailer as it reveals too much, but the movie is simply masterful in how layered it is on a shot-by-shot basis, as well as just in how incredibly detailed it is on a script level as well. There's also many visual callbacks and parallels, but also moments of not just simply symbolism, but a sense of poetry and how the environment is portrayed. It reminds me of how Tarkovsky praised Seven Samurai for showcasing the shaking leaves as a representation of a character's fear. And there's many such moments in this film, and none of them feel on the nose, but instead hit with the exact poetry that was intended. This is a film that simply blows me away with its complete sense of control over every single one of its aspects, all the while telling an extremely compelling, straightforward story that feels like a play in one sense, but also like a classic film in another way, bringing to mind films like 12 Angry Men or High and Low by Kurosawa as well, especially in terms of a really beautiful sense of blocking that you don't really see in many movies anymore. And don't get me wrong, some movies benefit from having a kind of compositionalist style at points, but when it's executed as well as it is here, it feels, again, genuinely poetic and engaging. The more this film continued, the more it started to impress me, the more it connected dots from earlier, and the more it just came together into a perfect piece. Everything feels patient and intriguing, but also straight up fun. Watching every character get introduced is super enjoyable, and it just makes me want to watch it again just to experience that again. This was an absolutely riveting film that completely gagged me by the end, leaving me with my hand covering my wide open mouth. This was a comfy yet visceral experience, where its only real flaws are one moment feeling logically questionable at the start, and the characters feeling like they kinda blend into each other at points, as many of them kinda exist to repeat what the other has already said before, but in a slightly different way. Nonetheless, I adored each of their performances and their mannerisms. It's a beautiful and atmospheric experience that really sticks with me in how it was paced and shot. It's simply extremely cinematically satisfying. Needless to say, I loved this film, and at the moment, I guess it's tied with Sound of Falling as my favorite film of the year so far. Just like that one, I'm sorta torn between an 8 or a 9, even though when I watched it, it borderline felt like a 10, especially after its Palme d'Or was announced right after my screening ended and the hype was at its highest. So I guess we'll have to see it again, but I loved it, and I'm staying true to my experience. So I'm rating this one a 9 out of 10.